Okay. Hi guys. Today we'll just learn how to create a component and what is a component. First of all, we'll just see what is a component. A component is a building block of the web pages and means when we are creating the website, we will just need some of the content to show on that web pages. To showing that content, we will just use that component to create that content and some of the content authors will just try to use that component by using drag component here option and they will place on the web pages and this is what is meant by the component and there are two types of components in AEM. One is standard component or core component or another one is custom component as well as WCM component. And standard components will be the components which are pre-built by the Adobe persons. Means these are all the components we can use. These are the components was provided by the AEM persons. Example like text components, image component, and carousel components. We want to just go to the those components. We can drag and drop, and we there is no creation of those types of components. And what is meant by the custom component is for according to the our project needs, we will just create some of the components for the specific project requirements. And those types of creation of components will be the custom components. And use of a component is the content author may be drag and drop this component in the multiple pages or multiple web pages uh, without any insurance and constancy and efficiency. And some overall components are essential building blocks in AEM that empower content authors and developers to create dynamic, engaging, and personalized web experience for users. They streamline the content authoring, the content creation process, enhance functionality, and promote consulting reusable across web pages. Here that content authors or developers maybe create dynamically or engaging or personalized web experiences for the users. And also, this is the structure of the component. Here, the component name will be this one. And for each and every component, we will have one CQ dialog. In that CQ dialog, we will just mention whatever the content we want to present in that web pages. And how many ways to create a component? There are two types of ways to create a component. One is using CRX and another one is using content.xml file. And I have said that we have CQ dialog for each and every component. There we and what is a CQ dialog and what is CQ design dialog? CQ dialog is an XML node type used to define the dialog boxes that appear when content authors edit component in authoring interface. Whenever the content author will edit that component by in the authoring interfaces, these kind of CQ dialog will be appears on the web pages. And it defines the fields, tab, and other UI elements that allow others to configure component properties and content. And whatever the matter that were present in the CQ dialog may be like fields and tabs and other UI elements. It can also be allowed to configure the component properties by the content authors. And CQ dialog nodes are typically located within the component node structure and define the component editing interfaces. And content authors interacted with CQ dialog to input data, configuration options, and customization component behavior. Okay. Here the content others can be interact with the whatever the input with we have given to the whatever the input data and after as well as configuration options and customization component behavior. These are all the types also can be handled by the content authors in the web pages. And CQ design dialog. CQ design dialog is also an XML node type used to define the design time dialogs for components in AEM. It allows developer to specify configuration options and design settings for components that are applied during the design process. Means by using this CQ design dialog, we can set some of the options like design settings and some of the specific configurations options to the particular component while the design process is going on. And design time settings defined in CQ design dialog can include default values, styling options, design variations, and other options. These are all the some of the options which we can present in our component by using the CQ design dialog. And what are the main differences in CQ dialog and as well as CQ design dialog is, first of all, we'll just go to the purpose of both of the dialog and the design dialog. The purpose is CQ dialog is used to define the dialog boxes that appear when content authors edit content in the authoring interface. Whenever the authors content author is using the authoring interface, there we can see the components. Those components can be edit or modify or anything by using CQ dialog. And in the CQ design dialog, CQ design dialog is used to define design time dialogues for component in AEM. It is only used for designing the time dialogues for the components. And usage of dialog. It defines the fields, tabs, and other UI elements that allow others to configure components, properties, and content during content creation and editing. Means whenever the content author is trying to edit in our by using the authoring interface, we can define the fields as well as tabs and and others like UI elements. And some of the configure component properties like content during content creation and editing. It allows the in a design dialog, it allows developer and designers to specify configuration options and design settings for components that are applied during the design process. As I have said that for designing to specify configuration options and design settings for a particular components, we will use this design dialogues. And accessibility content others interact directly with CQ dialogues during the editing process to input data, configure options, and customizing component behavior. Means whenever the content author is trying to use this dialog box in our authoring interface, or maybe while using on the web pages, they can see this dialog box for the editing or and giving and taking some input data. But in our design dialog box, we can this design dialog box is not visible or accessible to content others during the editing process. This is the main difference for design dialog as well as the CQ dialog box. And now we can see how to create the component by using the CRXG. Before creating the component, I will just show you like we can double click on it or we can go and try to reload this page. Okay, for example, we can take the component called Epic Teaser. You can see this is the CQ dialog and this is the component. This is the component on our page, and inside the component you can see our CQ dialog. Now we can see how to create our own component. Just go to your CRDXE. Here you can see the apps. Just come to your project name. In the project name, we have different folders like client libraries, components, and I18 and OAGI config. Whatever the components we want to create, you want to create in the components. Just try to right click on the components. You can see the create node. Actually, my 4502 other instance is not working, so I have trying using the cloud. But the main difference is that while we are creating a component, you can't see the create component option in the cloud. For that, I am just trying to use the. Not only one, we will use only one item. Okay, basically you can see this thing while we are right clicking here. You can see the create option. You will get the create template, create component options here right over in 6.5 or AM 6.5. But my 6.5 is not working. I'm just going to create this component in iCloud. Try to right click on the code and what is the name I want to mention? I will just mention it was the project. My component name is the project and I save this. Okay, here I have created a dash component name by right clicking the component, go to create node. Here you can see that I have used the CQ component and I have mentioned the name, but I will let you know how to create a component in 6.5 after this thing. And this is the different, the first one is the different thing, but remaining all the same for everything. And for while we are creating a component, we'll just get one more file like hello.html. This is the component of our thing. And while we are after creating the component, while we want to see in this particular page, if I want to see in this particular page, I want to group it for that component. For grouping that, simply go to the above or anything, any component, just try to copy this component group name and try to paste in our component. If I want to see my new component in this on that particular project, I want to add some component group name. Now you can group is managed. Yeah. At least you want to give anything like demo or anything because it was a permission to see of our component in this particular project. And I just try to go and check. It was not displaying. Just try to give one more node call CQ dialog.